Back to the charts with Big Boss Crypto, bringing you another day trading analysis on Bitcoin and on Chainlink. We've seen a drop to the downside the last couple of days. It still hasn't moved down to the target of 14k, but do we see that happening soon, or are we heading to the upside? We do have some volume candles to the upside that will get recovered at some point, but are we moving there next week, or are we heading to the 14k zone? Let's look at the charts. Now let's look at Bitcoin and what has happened the last couple of days. We've seen a quick move to the downside with some volume to the upside that has yet to be recovered. So let's mark it off in the chart. It's from 20.3k all the way down to 18.7, which has yet to be recovered. To the downside, we don't have anything on the lower time frame. We do have a small zone for all the scalpers that has yet to be filled at 17.2. That's an interesting zone if you want to trade some shorts and run it out until Monday. I don't recommend it though. None of this is financial advice, as you know, but it's an interesting zone if you're wanting to look at some shorts, because the stock market hasn't dropped yet. We're gonna look into that later on. If we look on the lower time frames today, it's been an interesting day to say the least, because Bitcoin moved to the upside after the quick rundown and has been rejected at the 18k area. And we've seen some VIX during today on the 5-minute time frame and on the 50-minute time frame at 17.5k, and it's been with some volume. I'm looking at this candle right here. I'm looking at this candle right here, and I'm also looking at, let me see, this candle right here. Look at the VIX. Look at this wick. And look at this wick. This is also a volume candle. That tells me that the market maker has been placing some shorts in this area, because that shows some interest in these zones to move price lower. I saw that today and I scalped some shorts and took some profits at this zone right here. On to the daily time frame then on Bitcoin, we can see that we had a volume candle in this area, and it has almost been recovered completely. They left out a small zone, and we do have a purple candle in this zone, and we have yet to take some of it during the next couple of days. So let's mark it off in the chart. I'm gonna mark it red because it's a short opportunity, and we do have the zone at 14.8 all the way down to 13.8k, which has yet to be recovered, and I think that is the target for a local bottom before we see a relief rally to the upside to recover these volume candles, because we do have this big candle up here at 20k. We have recovered this one at 18.45 almost. We came all the way up to 18.2 before we reversed to the downside, because it looks like to me we're gonna recover this purple candle during the weekend most likely, and head down to 15.7k area for Bitcoin. Let's quickly take a look at the macroeconomic news that came out today. We had the GDP in UK, mixed results, nothing extraordinary happening. It looks like inflation is slowing down in the UK as well. We had the preliminary consumer sentiment from the US today, came out lower than expected, which indicates that consumers aren't confident of the market, and they aren't willing to spend as much money as it was projected that it wanted at 59.5. It came in at 54.7. If it is above 50 though, it says that we are still in a positive environment for the consumers. So consumers are still willing to spend their money onto products and services in general. If it's below 50, then that means an economic contraction, and people aren't confident in spending money, and yet they save money instead of spending it. So that indicates that, yeah, we are slowing down. It isn't as crazy as it has been, but we are still confident in the markets in general. Let's take a look at the liquidation map on Kingfisher. And as you can see, we do have more clusters to the downside than to the upside for Bitcoin. And we do have our first target at 16.2. We do have a cluster from 16 all the way to 15. And we do also have a big cluster at 14.5k all the way down to 13.4 as well. However, I do think we will move quickly to 15k during next week, at the beginning of next week, and we do also see 14.5k as a local bottom potentially. So don't go long yet if you're thinking of going long, and if you're in shorts, you might want to run them out all the way down to 14.5k. However, it's all up to you and your trading strategy. Let's take a look at Chainlink. We do have a big volume candle zone to the upside from $8 to $9.2. And we do also have a zone to the downside at $6 all the way down to 5.8. We did see a volume candle recovery that was made during today. We moved all the way down to $6.5, which is where the volume candles resided and started their move to the upside, and the market making move price down there. However, we are seeing a recovery of the red candle right here. So macro is very bearish and Bitcoin isn't looking that great. However, we could see a small pump to the upside to $7 before we move down from here, and our target to 5.8 to recover this volume candle. But that is possibly going to happen during the start of next week. We could move to the sideways or even to the upside before going down lower again. So now I promised you that we're going to take a look at the S&P 500. I know this is a crypto channel, but however, I do want to point out that if stocks are moving down, Bitcoin and crypto is moving down most likely as well. Look at this gap up we saw after the CPI numbers. This gap up is going to be filled at some point. We do have volume candles in the zone that was recovered right now. We also have some volume candles in this zone yet to be filled. So we are seeing a relief rally for stocks, and we might want to pay close attention to what the stocks are doing during today and the next couple of hours, because I do think we'll move down and fill this gap during the next week. So to be honest, we aren't out of the woods yet. The bottom isn't in yet, because if we move to the downside here, Bitcoin will most likely go to 14.5k. So watch out for the close of today's stock market, because that will set the tone for what will happen on Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, because this might be a setup before moving down lower again and even potentially forming new lows on the S&P 500 and go to these volume candles at 3.5k. Now let's summarize this market update. As I said, news are showing that inflation is slowing down, and some people are calling that the bottom is in and the worst is over. However, we saw the gap up in the stock market, and we saw that inflation is slowing down, but however, consumers are feeling confident that this is just a dip, and it's intended that we should buy the dip because price will move higher and higher as it always has. But be careful, inflation hasn't been removed by the Fed and it's still very high. So next week will be interesting in my opinion. Also, point number 2 is that we have more liquidations to the downside on Bitcoin. And as I said, 14.5k looks juicy. We do have a volume candle in that zone. We do have a lot of liquidations in that zone. So that is a potential local bottom, and that is where we might see a bounce and potentially move to 20k during the next couple of months. But however, we could drop even lower. It all depends on what the stock market is doing the next couple of months. And the December Fed meeting will be pretty interesting. It will decide how next year will look from January to March, in my opinion. So stay tuned for that. It's a very interesting market right now. Also, point number 3, I already pointed out, the stock market hasn't had a significant drop yet. Bitcoin has moved aggressively to downside. However, the stock market has pointed upwards in the last couple of days. That's very interesting. Is something brewing? I know the FTX news made the Bitcoin price drop, but the stock market isn't looking that great as well. So pay a close attention to what the stock market will do next week. That was it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Stay safe, and remember, we are seeing a drop down on the Bitcoin price. Crypto will drop down even lower, but that means that the price is in your favor and you can pick up more of your favorite coins, because we will see a bull run again. Even if you feel that it's hopeless right now, remember, money is coming into crypto during the next couple of years. Stay safe. Big Boss out.